Welcome to Keto Meals and Recipes.com. Today I'll be making keto chocolate pumpkin seed bark, which is also a really delicious fat bomb. The macronutrient ratio for this recipe is 3.8 to 1, with 2.2 grams of total carbs, 1 gram of fiber, and 1.2 gram of net carbs per serving. Now let's go ahead and make this delicious and nutrient-rich treat. In step 1, I lightly roast the raw pumpkin seed. There are two ways to roast the seeds. You can roast the seeds in the oven or using a dry skillet on the stovetop. I use both methods depending on how many seeds I have to roast. But for this demonstration, I'm going to roast the seeds on the stovetop in order to be able to show you how easy it is to do. Begin by heating up your dry skillet over medium-low heat. When the skillet is hot, spread the pumpkin seeds in a single layer. Don't crowd the seeds, because you need to have the ability to toss or stir the seeds as they're roasting. Roast the seeds until they're just starting to turn a paler green and the seeds are beginning to smell nice. This will take a couple minutes depending on the heat setting you're using. When cooking, it's really important to pay attention to your sense of smell. This isn't a perfect indicator and you shouldn't rely on smell alone, but it's a good guideline. Also, be very careful not to over roast the pumpkin seeds. You just want them to be less raw in order to bring out some of the flavor. But if you over roast, you will actually reduce the amazing nutrient value of the pumpkin seeds. When your first batch of seeds has been roasted, remove them from the heat right away and place them into a cool bowl. Repeat with the rest of your seeds until all the seeds you need have been roasted. Then set all your seeds aside. I next prepare my chocolate truffle recipe because it's an amazing, very creamy chocolate fat bomb and makes a great chocolate base for this recipe. And in my opinion, it tastes close to a Lindt chocolate bar that's 60 to 75% cocoa. Just a quick recap, make the chocolate truffle base over bain-marie. Place all the ingredients into the bowl and stir and whisk frequently until all the ingredients have melted. But I'd like you to note that my chocolate truffle base has no sugar, and my chocolate truffle recipe uses 100% pure cacao, and the overall chocolate recipe results in a much better fat ratio than just melting chocolate bar. Well, it still has a very silky chocolate smoothness, and it's really easy to do. And in my humble opinion, it compares very favorably to Lindt chocolate. I will provide the link to the video which shows you and explains how to make my chocolate truffles in the description below. And I won't go into the details here for those of you who have already seen that video. Just a quick word about the original chocolate truffle recipe. These are some of my favorite fat bombs, and I make them for dessert, especially when I need to boost the total fat portion of my meal. In other words, to increase my macronutrient ratio. Then the final thing is to test to make sure the sweetener has also melted. You take a bit of chocolate and you rub it between your thumb and finger. What you're testing for is to see if it's still gritty. If it's still gritty, continue cooking for 1 or 2 more minutes as you stir. Test again, and when the chocolate doesn't feel gritty anymore, remove it from heat and set the chocolate aside to cool down a bit. In the meanwhile, line a pan with parchment paper. Then when your chocolate truffle base has cooled to just a slightly warm temperature, pour it into your parchment-lined pan. Then sprinkle about 2/3 of the roasted pumpkin seeds evenly over the entire chocolate. Then use a spoon or spatula to just stir the seeds into the chocolate. Then sprinkle the rest of the seeds on top. Leave most of this last batch of seeds to rest on the surface. That will give the bark a really nice presentation. Then place the pan into the freezer until the bark has set. If you like, after a few hours, when the bark has firmed up, take it out of the freezer and using either a sharp knife or a pizza cutter, cut the bark into 18 uniform little pieces. Alternatively, you can just leave the bark in the freezer until it's completely set, and then just break off into little chunks. Depending how thick your bark is, it may take several hours for the bark to harden completely. Because I like mine a little bit thicker, I leave it overnight. This way, when I take it out, it's nice and hard and crunchy. Store your bark in an airtight container in the freezer until just before you want to eat some. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Please share this video with your friends, press the like button, and if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing.